course in year 6224. So in this class, we'll try to see like what is PDE and some of the introductory and preliminary things which you have learned in your ODE and analysis course. So I'll try to cover some of the things, then we'll discuss details. So the course details are as follows. So I split the course into two parts. One is up to the midterm. So till the midterm, we will see some of the first order as well as PDE, initial value, boundary value problems, homogeneous, non-homogeneous PDEs, and then autonomous solution, screening function, the solution method like DLMBED solution, and the Fourier method, Poisson integral, etc. And so after the midterm, mostly it will be like nonlinear PDE and some of the theorem oriented, like complete integrals in envelopes. So characteristic ODE we will cover in the before midterm, but here it will be more towards under theorem oriented. Hamilton-Duclos equation, and then some of the basic laws like conservation laws, which is common for most of the fluid flow equation like flood flow, etc. Then D solutions, uniqueness, Riemann problems, we will see. And the second order ODE classification, canonical form, Lax-Milgram theorem, maximum, minimum principles. These are some of the topics which we will cover. So then timetable and tentative lecture schedule. So we'll just 44 lectures we have. So for each lecture, I'm trying to provide the tentative topics. So we'll try to stick if it is possible. We'll cover it depending on the progress which you make. We'll cover. We'll take more lectures or less lecture. So we'll see. So for example, in this week we'll take what is the introduction and some industry problems and million-dollar questions also we'll take. And first order and second order PDE will be covered. In the next week, we will probably see inhomogeneous and homogeneous and method characteristic method, and variable coefficients also we will see. And derivation of transport equation and solutions we will see next week. So the rest of the things are also given here, so you can see that. So just go through that. I will just talk as well as give you this presentation. So these are the tentative schedules which we cover. Okay, so assignment and marks. So for assignment and marks, we have the. So I will give individual assignments for each of you. So the first order PDE Sartways, which will be given on this week for 4 September, and due date is 20 September. You got submitted, and it is for 100 marks. Similarly, wave equations and Fourier method, which will be given on 22nd September. You got submitted 4th October, and similarly, there are other assignments are there. And I will give some questions from CSIR, CATE, and navigation questions, which is miscellaneous questions. I will call it as apart from some difficult question also I will give, which is for 2 months due. So I will give it on 5th October, and you can submit by 5th December. So for that I give more weightage to 200 marks. It will be given. And then for assignments, I will give like 600 marks. Individual assignments means since 5 students are there, I will give for each of you some separate assignments. So you will submit that, and it will be like 30% marks will be given. And midterm, it is 100 marks, and again the weightage is 30%. End semester, it is 100 marks, and weightage is 40%. And so the websites. So the website is given here. So you can see that this is the website for lecture notes. I have given this website. So you can see here the partial differential equations. So I just show you that. I just show that to you. Okay, so you can see that I got prepared a nice flyer like this, and then we have the schedule which I got mentioned there. So I'll upload. There will be a link here, so you can just download from here. I'll upload the presentation on each day. You can download that, and then textbook. So these are the textbook like partial differential equations. Poland and Robert McCowan. These are the standard textbooks which you are suggesting. And reference books, these are also some of the books. So here I will take some of the lecture notes and theorems from here, partial differential equations, and elements of partial differential equations, some theorems and proof I will take from here also. And this is one of the advanced book like partial differential equations, Lawrence Evans. So if you go to any of the IITs like IIT Madras, or if you are interested to do some research on partial differential equation, this is the basic book which they will recommend to read. So after reading this book only, they will try to give some of the work stream. And animation, so I have uploaded some animations in this page. Okay, so you can see that. So I'll just show you that page also. So you can see like some of the animations here. So this is, for example, this is PDE theory, okay, and this is a variation, you can say, and then this is something for ordinary derivative. Okay, so derivative where the slope, how it is moving, and then it approaching the slope. So that so I have given a slope for that, how it reaches at a single point. And then this is again tsunami wave equation. You can see that tsunami wave here. For example, this is the tsunami wave equation. So it's going here. So these are some of the animations which I will upload in this website. Okay, so that also you can see. And then again assignments. So I will just put the assignments over here, and I kept some collections of miscellaneous documents like partial differential equations in the 20th century. So this is the history which you can see in the this century, last century, and history of PDE, like what are the history which come across the PDE that we can see, and 75 unsolved problems in analysis and PDE is given here, and the millennium problem means $1 million question problem, which I will explain in the next class. So name distribution, the existence and all this, so that is another link to check out. As we can go through. Okay. Now we'll see the rest. Okay. So for assignments, I will also send the emails to you, and Zoom lecture I will create a YouTube link, and then I will send it to you also.
Then according to the Rudi definition, he defines a quotient. So pi of t is nothing but f of t minus f of x divided by t minus x. That is the quotient which he defined. And then he lets t tends to x, okay, pi of t, limit t tends to x pi of t, that he defines as f of x. So that is called the usual way Rudi defines the derivative. Okay, so that is so for each function f, he associates a function f dash, that is called the derivative. Okay, so the provided that limit exists. Okay, limit t tends to x f of x, that limit exists, then that is called f dash of x. Okay, that is the derivative definition which you might have seen in the volume. So this f dash is called the derivative of f. Okay, so if f dash is defined at a point, then we say that f is differentiable at x. If f dash is defined at every point in some set, okay, x belongs to E, subset of A comma B, then we say that f is differentiable on E. Okay, if I just say like f is differentiable on whole integral A comma B, then we can say that f is differentiable on the whole set. Okay, if I say x, then we can say that f is differentiable on x. Okay, so this you might have seen that the geometrical interpretation. So you have a curve. Okay, for this curve, I need to find what is the derivative. So for that, what we take is, so we take a point here. Okay, so this is the way you can see it in the Thomas Calculus books. So I take something like x here. Okay, I have x here. Let's say this is delta x plus delta x. Okay, so I'm just trying to find what is the ratio of this one. So this is going to be f of x plus delta x, and this is going to be f of x. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so the delta x can be this side or this side. Okay, so the delta x I'm just keeping here. So what they will find is f of x plus delta x minus f of x. Okay, and then the difference between this one. So this is the way the Rudi also defines. So he is taking quotient between the 2 points. Okay, f of t minus f of x, he is taking the neighborhood of t minus x in the neighborhood of x. So here I am just taking x plus delta x minus f of x and divided by the same way what Rudi has defined, x plus delta x minus x. So x gets cancelled, so I will get delta x. So in this case, what I can do is, I can just, instead of t tends to x, what I can do is, I can just let delta x tends to 0. Then I need to find if this limit exists, then I can say that this is nothing but the derivative. So the pictorially, what does it means is like, so I'm just trying to find what is the slope, secant, this the secant joining this one. Okay, so the slope I'm just trying to find, and then I'm just moving little. When the t tends to x, what you will get is, you get the slope at the point at t tends to x. So that's what I have shown in the previous video also. The video you can see that I have taken some slope, so that slope is slowly moving, and then you can see that. So this is the pictorial representation of the derivative. So this is the way Thomas calculus and BTech level students, if you see, this is the way they define. So that is called the derivative of the function f of x with respect to the variable x is a function whose value is defined in this way. Okay, so how do they define? So key defines in this way. So f of x tends to, so f dash of x is nothing but f dash of x equal to limit. So key defines instead of delta x is defining h tends to 0 f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. Okay, so this is the definition which you can see in the Thomas Calculus books. So this is so here the limits exist. Okay, if limit exists, then we say that f dash of x. Okay, so that means the derivative of the function at the variable x. So these are some of the examples. So if I say like f of x equal to 4x square, then what is f dash of x? It is 8x. Y equal to e power 5x, then we can say that dy by dx equal to 5 into e power 5x. And y equal to sin x plus x square, we can say that dy by dx equal to cos x plus 2x. So these are all the preliminaries, so I'm just wrapping it up. Okay, so now this one f of x equal to x into sin 1 by x. So here I'm just giving an example where it is not differentiable at x equal to 0. Okay, so what will happen here? So this is my new, this is my function that the derivative is not going to exist. So I have the function x into sin 1 by x not equal to 0, and 0 is x equal to 0. Then according to the definition of Rudy, I can define phi of t. Phi of t is nothing but t sin 1 by t minus phi of 0. So I am just going to define at 0. Okay, so I am just going to put it as 0. So phi of 0 I am going to find. Okay, so I am going to find what is f dash of 0. So whether it exists or not. So t into sin 1 by t minus t minus 0, because at x equal to 0 it is 0. Then I have t minus 0. So then t gets cancelled, so I will get sin 1 by t. Okay. Now if I just allow limit t tends to x, phi of t, which is nothing but limit t tends to, so here it is nothing but x is 0, so t tends to 0, sin 1 by t. Will it exist? Sin 1 by t, t tends to 0. It is going to be oscillating, heavily oscillating when t tends to 0, so we are not going to get the limit. Okay. So it is one of the examples that the derivative is not going to exist. Any doubts so far?
No.
Okay. Now I'm just going the backward action. Okay, how to define that in from the Thomas Calculus, and then we'll go in a different way. So now what we are going to do is we are going to define the partial derivative. See, in case of derivative, whatever we define, what we mentioned is f is a function from a comma b to r. It's a real valued function. Okay. Now for partial derivative, we need at least more than one variable. Okay, so means f is a multivariable function. So f of x comma y. For example, I am just defining simple one, but in general you can keep as many variables as you want. So I'm just defining simple one. Okay, two variables are made. So f of x y is a real valued function. So I'm just taking some domain. Let's say d. So f is a mapping from d subset of r square to r. Okay, it's a real valued function, but it's defined from r square, subset of r square. Okay. Now what we have is we have to define at a point. So I'm just fixing some point. So in d I'm just taking some point called a comma b, which is belonging to d. Okay. So what I'm going to take is I'm going to take a point there. Then I'm going to find what is the partial derivative with respect to first variable and second. So the concept is very similar to what we defined in the derivative. Okay. So what I'm going to do is what we will have is we have a before that we need to see some more things, then we will come to that. So what we need to do is when I define f is a function from a comma b to r, what I get is I get a curve. Okay. So for each element in a comma b, okay, here what I get is I get a curve. Means I will move to already the two dimensional. Now if I go here, what I will get? I will get a curve. I will get a surface here. This is equal to f of x comma y. This is a surface. Okay, I will get a surface in the 3 dimension. Now what we are going to do is we are going to define the partial derivative. So instead of a curve, what I will get is I will get a surface. Okay, I will get a surface here. Now what I am going to do is I am just going to say there will be three axes will be there. So x, y, z will be there. Now what I am going to do is I am just going to make a plane. I am just going to cut a plane. For example, I want to find y equal to b. So I am just taking y equal to b plane. So I am just cutting it. Okay, I am just taking a plane y equal to b. So y equal to b is in the three-dimensional matrix will be a plane. Okay, if I just put y equal to b, it's going to be a line in the two-dimensional. Okay, two-dimensional plane, two-dimensional one. Whereas if I move to the three-dimensional, y equal to b is a plane. So I have a surface. On that surface, what I am going to do is I am going to cut the surface using a plane. Okay, just take a plane and then cut it. What you will get? What will be the intersection between the plane and the surface? What will be the intersection between the plane and the surface? Preeti? Hello? Yeah, Rajat? Yeah.
It will be a
What will
curve.
be the intersection between the plane and the surface? I have a surface. I'm just cutting it using a plane.
It will be a curve, sir.
Yeah, either it will be a curve or it will not be. If it start, if the
It will be closed
plane is
curve or
not
it will
passing
be
through
open
that surface, then you are not going to get a curve. Okay, it will be empty. Otherwise, you will get a curve. Okay, so that means once you fix the plane, what you will get is you will get a curve. Now, once you fix that curve, what you can do is you can apply the definition of the derivative. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So once the curve is obtained, for that curve, once again you got to find the slope of the tangent to that curve. So that is the basic idea. Okay, that is the partial derivative of the complex. So for example, here I have given the pictorial representation. Once again, this is from the Thomas Calculus book. So there is a surface. Okay, the surface is in the gray color. Okay, the gray color one is the surface. Where I am just cutting it using the plane y equal to b. I think. Okay, so I am just cutting it using a plane. Okay, and then what I am going to do is I get a curve. The curve is in the blue color. Okay, the blue color one is the curve. And for that curve, now what I am going to do is I am going to obtain the slope of the curve at that some part. Okay, some part I am just partial derivative in the pictorial representation. Trying to find is I am just trying to find what is fx at a comma b. Okay. So in this case, what I am trying to do is another notation is tau f by tau x at x comma y equal to a comma. Okay, this is another way which we can write. So here what I am going to do is I am just going to define df by dx. So this is nothing but df by dx. Okay, at I am just going to fix the value b. Okay, so I am just going to define x comma b. Okay, and I am just going to define x equal. Then this is nothing but fx of a comma b. So what is this one? Now this becomes like a ordinary derivative. So now what is the definition of this one? According to the Thomas Calculus, this is nothing but f of x plus f of a plus h, because I am going to define at a. So a plus h comma b minus f of a comma b divided by h. And then I have to put limit h tends to. Okay. So means I am just fixing b. I am just fixing b. And then I am trying to find what is the derivative of that. So that is called the partial derivative with respect to x. Now what will happen for the y? Could someone tell me? So I am just trying to find what is fy at a comma b. So this is going to become like I am just going to write as tau f by dou y x comma y at a comma b. So this I can write as df by dy. So now I have to fix a. So this will become a and this will become
y.
Okay, and this is going to be y equal to
b.
y equal to. So the definition is going to change here. What is it going to change? It's going to become like limit. Again, same thing. I am just going to keep some different variable here. K tends to 0 because already I used to catch that. So I'm going to use different variable here. So f of a comma y plus h, y plus k,
Y plus k.
yeah, f of a comma b, not y plus k here. What I need to put is b plus
It's b plus k.
Yeah, because my y is b, right? Yeah, b plus k divided by k. Okay, so this is the definition for dou f by dou y. Now I just ask a question: what will happen if you go for the third dimension? What will you do if you go for the third dimension?
Sir, Sir,
Yeah.
I'm unable to watching your the board, sir.
Sorry?
Only I'm just watching your triangles. So this
What is
board, sir. Board,
board is
sir.
not visible?
Ah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Visible to me.
Where is my board? Where is my board? My board is visible, right? I
No,
could see
Yes,
my
sir.
board. Yeah.
Naveen, just click on sir's photo.
Is it visible,
Where?
Naveen?
No, sir. No, sir.
Just click on my photo. You can see. It.
Just double click.
Just double click.
Is it visible?
Sir, actually, my screen is vibrating, sir, right now. So,
Okay. Maybe you are. Okay, I will just send the lecture. I will send the video, so don't worry. Okay, so even if you don't, you can just watch it again. Okay.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I asked the question: what will happen if you go for the third dimensional one? So in that case, once again, you got to do the same way. Okay. So if you go for the third dimensional one, what you need to do is once again, you got to fix two variables over here. So suppose I have f of x comma y comma z. Okay, so it's a subset from f is a function from b subset of r cube to r. But once again, you have to do the same. Okay, so if I find what is f of x comma a comma b comma c, okay, then what you need to do is you got to fix these two variables. So that is going to be something like limit h tends to 0. Okay, f of a plus h and b and c are fixed here minus f of a b c divided by h2. Okay, so you can extend this for all the things. Once you did for the two-dimensional two variables, you can extend that for any variables. Okay, so even if you have n number of variables, you can do the same thing. So you fix all the variables over there and then keep it there. And then now, if you go for the second derivative also, you can do the same thing. Okay, so in that case, this will be your function. Fx will be your function. Then you will do the same. Okay, fine. So these are some of the examples which I'll just leave it as an exercise for you. So x cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 6xy z equal to 1. So you need to find what is dou z by dou x and dou z by dou y, and then you can find this answer. I just leave it as an exercise. It's a BTech level problem, so I just leave it as an exercise. Similarly here, ux plus r minus uy means you not find ux plus uy as well as ux minus uy also. So u is given as ex minus e power x minus 1. So what is ux? Ux is e power x minus 5. What is u double x? Once again, you are going to derive it, take the derivative of e power x minus 5. That is going to be e power x minus 5. Then uy, since minus sign is attached to that y, so you get minus e power x minus 5. Then uyy is going to be e power x minus 5. Now, if you sum it up, ux plus uy, what you will get? That will become 0. Whereas if you take uxx plus uyy, we will get it as 2u. Okay. Similarly, ux minus uy is going to be 2u, uxx minus uy equal to 2. These are also the same. Just keep it in mind. Okay, so this I will come back to that again. Okay, I will come to that again after the history of the. So what is the history of PDE? Let's see. So in 1694, okay, it is dating back to the 17th century. So 1694, Leibniz used the partial process. Okay. He didn't use that explicitly. He just used it in some notations like delta m. Means he wants to find something like mass with mass changes with respect to some space. So in that case, he used some symbol called delta m. So he didn't use the derivative symbol which he used like fx or tau m by tau x which we are using. He used a symbol called delta m. Okay, in 1694, Leibniz used that. And he used for the second variable, he used a symbol called var theta. Okay, var theta m he used, and that is another symbol used. It was written on, it was given on a letter to D. Castrel at that time. Then again in 1694, he used the partial differential equation to find the envelope of the circles. Okay, for finding the circles he used. And then, for example, this one x square plus y square plus b square equal to dx plus d. So for this, he try to find the envelope. We'll see what is that envelope in later classes. Okay, so for that also. And in 1770, Hermann used PDE problems in orthogonal trajectories to find the planar tethers. I hope you know like how to find the orthogonal trajectories, which you may have studied in your school physics, like how to find the orthogonal curve. So orthogonal means what? Orthogonal means you got to find the perpendicular line. For example, when we say two functions are orthogonal or two vectors are orthogonal, when you say u dot b is equal to 0, means if you take the dot product, it's equal to 0. So something similar in that line. What we need to find is we got to find the orthogonal trajectories of the plane curves. Okay, so we'll see that also in few classes later. So because this is one of the major idea behind the characteristic PDE, etc. Then 1752, T. Allenberts introduced one-dimensional wave equation. He tried to find how to do that. So the one-dimensional wave equation, you can just see that in the violin string. Okay, if you take some violin or guitar string, so you just make some vibration, then you can see that it is going to make some noise, A node or P node or whatever. So that one, it is going to make some vibration, and that is going to be this. So those kind of equation he studied, and D'Alembert has developed, and that was in 1752. And then Euler extended D'Alembert's work in 1759. So 1762, Bernoulli extended extended to 2 and 3 dimensional wave equation. And 1780, Laplace studied the gravitational potential fields. This is one of the important problem. So there are 3 big PDEs available. Okay, so big 3 PDEs are, one is like wave equation, another is heat equation, another is Laplace equation. So for that, what we have is like one of the equations is called Laplace equation, which comes from the gravitational potential fields. Means the del square pi equal to 0. That way. We will see that in the next class. What is that? Then in 1756, so these are the terms which you will be repeating again and again. Okay. In 1755, Euler equation of incompressible flows was introduced. Okay, which is like, if you see the, I will just explain that what is in the next class. But to give an idea, the incompressible flows, like the flow equation, most of the flow equations are governed by conservation laws. Okay, conservation of mass, conservation of momentum, and conservation of energy. So from that they used to derive that. For example, if you see the weather predictions or the blood flow in the river, so these are all some of the examples. Or dam break problem. These are some of the examples where you can see like the flow problem. So incompressible means in that case what we will see is like the density is not going to change with respect to time. Okay, so the density of the flow is going to constant. So that is. So we'll see that in the. So these are the technical terms which you will see it in the PDE class again and again. And Lagrange has used minimal surface equation for PDE in the 1760. And Mange and Ampere, he developed a Mange-Ampere equation. Okay, so that is also, I will just show what is the equation in the next class. So in 1775 he used that. And in 1830, Laplace and Poisson equation. So Laplace equation and Poisson equation is almost similar. In the Laplace equation, you have the right hand side as 0, okay, del u. So that is the thing, but the Laplace equation is going to be del u equal to 0. Whereas in the Poisson equation, it will be del u is equal to f. Okay, the right hand side is, so this is called as homogeneous, this is called as inhomogeneous. That also is. Okay, so that is Poisson equation. And then green gas contributed something in 1828, and the gas again contributed to the PDE in 1839. And this is one of the important problem in PDE, which is called the Navier-Stokes equation for fluid flow. Okay, so if you see, it is one of the $1 problem, which I will post it in the next class. What is the problem and what is the things to be found? So if you solve that problem, you will get $1 million as the price. Okay, so this is one of the unsolved problems till date. So this is called Navier-Stokes equation for fluid flows. So this was developed by it was worked by Navier in 1822 to 1827, and then Poisson also worked that, and then Stokes also worked on this problem. And again, Navier introduced in 1821 linear elasticity, and Cauchy introduced extended that idea in 1822. Okay, these are some of the mechanical engineering problems which you can see. Okay, and Maxwell's equation. So Maxwell's equation, which is one of the breakthrough problems in the 18th century. Okay, so because of that equation are mostly whatever we are dealing with today, whether you are attending this online class or you are having some electricity or some magnetic theory, etc. These are all governed by this Maxwell's equation because we are receiving some signals through some Wi-Fi or etc. So most of these things are governed by this Maxwell's equation. Okay, so from that theory only, that is the underlying theory. From that only they developed much more concept and many more concepts, and then they developed that. So this is one of the basic theory, which is Maxwell's equation. So mostly this equation is kind of vector based. Okay, so so here I defined f is a subset from T from R cube. So here it will be like the variable is a vector variable. Okay, it is going to be a vector variable. So that also is very important. Then Helmholtz equation and eigenvalue problem for Laplace operators. So that also one more equation which introduced by Laplace and Helmholtz in 1860. Then other problems like Plateau problem in 1840 and compact D-Varies equation 1896. So these are all the equations I will show it in the next class. Then solution method. So history of solution. So initially what they were trying to use, they were trying to use the separation of variables. Means if we have a problem, for example, we will see that what is separation of variable. We will have a heat equation. The assumption is that, see, all the problems cannot be solved easily, the partial differential equation. So based on some assumption, they will try to solve them. Okay, and then they will try to develop some theory and then try to establish what is the concept. So in this case, separation of variable, what they will assume is, so for the equation, so I have a, for example, we have seen some f of x comma y. Okay, f of x comma y is my function is f of x comma y, and I have some partial differential equation. So what they will assume is in the separation of variable, they will assume that this the solution of that partial differential equation can be written as f of x into g of y. Means it can be split into two different things. Means f of x is independent of y and g of y is independent of x. If you can separate that, then you can solve certain class of problems. So that we will see in our lecture. So these are the method of separation of variable, which was developed by D'Alembert, and again 1748 Euler used that idea, and 1748 Laplace used that idea, and Legendre also used that for Laplace equation. And from that theory, you can see that Fourier has used that in 1811 to 1824 for that heat equation. And then from that heat equation, the theory of Fourier theory came. Okay, Fourier series and Fourier integral, etc. came in 1870s using the concept of this Fourier. Fourier has applied this idea to heat equation. Okay, the method of separation of variable. That idea to heat equation, and then he developed the theory of Fourier series, and that is one of the important concept in today's world in many of the electrical engineering problems and many more like heat equation. And then we have real harmonic and analytic functions for single and complex variable, which was studied by Riemann and Neumann and other people. Okay, so that was done. And Green's function and special singular solution for Laplace equation was studied in 1835. And Dirichlet has introduced some principle called Dirichlet principle, which is in your topic. So we'll see that something like maximum minimum express that. So one of such topic is Dirichlet principle. Then Green, Causs, Kelvin, and Riemann, they have contributed to this, improving this Dirichlet principle. Then power series method, which was introduced by Euler and extensively used by D'Alembert, Laplace, and others. I hope you know the power series method, which we might have studied in the ODE course. Okay, the same thing. We will just try to use that over here. And then power series method for nonlinear PDAs was studied by Cauchy in 1840. And then convergence of power series, and of course Laddy-Kowalski is one of the famous woman mathematician, and she is simplified that for general system. Okay, the convergence of power series general system to be studied. Then existence of Dirichlet principle and integrals, which was questioned by Riemann, and that led to some other theory called Hilbert problem, or Hilbert's known Hilbert problem, like Bell-Cosmos, etc. will come later, or Karamat's principle also will come later. So there they got studied like regularity, existence, etc. Okay, so those things came later. Okay, so nowadays this regularity, so those are our hot topics. And method of integral equations was introduced by Neumann in 1877, and then that was used by Poincare and Hilbert and Prudhomme. Then 1880s, Picard's introduced the successive approximation. I hope you know what is Picard's theorem, which you might have seen in the ODE course. Okay, so to find the existence and existence theorem of existence. So he's the one who contributed. Then other mathematicians like Hilbert, Levy, Lebesgue, Rubini, Courant, these are some of the people they have used in this 19th century to today. So some of the theorems like Ascoli's theorem, Sobolev spaces, weak solutions, distributions, well-postness, regularity parameters. So these are the technical terms you will come across in this course. Okay, what are all the things? And these are all the latest topics like Schauder's theory, singular integrals, energy methods, Hilbert transform, Weyl lemma. These are all the latest technology, latest techniques, or latest topics in the partial differential research. Okay. Now let's come to the preliminaries 2. Okay. So we have seen that f of x equal to 4x square in the 5 or 6 slides before. We have seen that f of x equal to 4x square means f dash of x equal to 8x. Now suppose I want to go back. Okay. Suppose f dash of x equal to 8x is given. I want to go back to f of x. Will I get f of x equal to 4x square? See, what you have is you have something like f of x equal to 4x square is that 5. Okay, you have a in ODE. So I'm just
No, that is not
the
true.
ODE now. So you have a function called f of x. Okay, equal to 4x square. Now what is the derivative of this one? F dash of x, which is equal to 8x.
8x.
Okay. Now what is f of x? Suppose this is given, then I can find whatever is f dash of x. This 8x. Now suppose f dash of x equal to x is given as 8x. Then what is f of x? Will it be 4x square?
It will be some 4x square plus some constant, arbitrary
Some
constant.
constant will be there. Okay, that means it is not uniquely determined. Okay, so you have infinite. So C is arbitrary constant. So I can give all the real numbers. Whatever real numbers I am going to give, I am going to get some answer. So that means it is an arbitrary constant. So I am going to get an infinite number of solutions. In fact, uncountable solutions I will get it. Okay. So same way. Suppose I got y equal to e power 5x, then I got dy by dx equal to 5 e power x. So will I get y equal to e power 5x? No, I will get some constant. Similarly, y equal to sin x plus x square, I will get cos x plus 2x dy by dx. But if I go back, I will not get the same thing. Okay, I will get some constants. So that's what I got here. So C1, C2, C3, what does it represent? It is some. I'm just having some constant. Okay, C1, C2, C3. I'm just having some constant. So what is it? What does it represent? Means like see the derivative is measuring slope of some tangent line here given curve. Okay, it is giving some slope. But if I give a curve, okay, for a particular point, I can just find only one slope. But if I give a slope, will I get a single curve? It is not necessary. I can give an infinite number of curves for which I will have same thing. For example, if I take y equal to x, okay, y equal to x square, what is the slope? Slope is going to be 1. Okay. Similarly, I can just explain this x plus c. Okay, x plus c. I'm just shifting it somewhere else. X plus c. Still, I will get a similar one. Okay, the slope is going to be 1. Okay, so that means I have infinite number of such curves. Infinite number of such curves. So if I give the slope, you will not get a single solution. You will get multiple solutions. Infinite number of solutions. Whereas if I give a curve, then for that you may get only single. So that means it is kind of inverse problem we used to say. Inverse problem means like say f of x equal to 4x square implies f dash of x equal to 8x is standard problem. So curve is given, you are going to find the slope. Whereas if I give the f dash of x equal to 8x, you need to find what is f of x. That is inverse problem. So it is going, you are going to get a infinite a family of curves you are going to get. Okay. So this is the one line for that. Now the same question. Okay, in the PDE. So in the PDE, what I have is I have a equation called u is equal to e power x minus y. I have a equation u is equal to e power x minus y. What is ux? Ux is e power x minus y, and uy is e power minus e power minus e power x minus y. Now I know. Now what we need to do is I have ux plus uy equal to 0. Okay, ux plus uy equal to 0 is there. Okay, So u equal to e power x minus y implies that ux plus uy equal to 2. Now the question is, so this implies this. Okay. Now the question is, will it imply this one? Okay. Ux plus uy equal to 0. Does it imply u equal to e power x minus y? Okay, that is the question. The same way which I asked for the question in the ODE. If f dash of x equal to 4x square, then f dash of x equal to 8x, then will it imply f of x equal to 4x square? Okay, that one question I asked. So now I am going to ask the same way for the PDE also. Okay, u equal to e power x minus y implies ux plus uy equal to 0. Does it imply that once again u equal to e power x minus y? Means ux plus uy equal to 0 is given. Does it mean that u equal to e power x minus y? Okay, so that is one important question. Done. Same way, u equal to e power x minus y implies ux plus uy equal to 2u also, because in the previous 3 slides before. Now the question is, will it imply u equal to e power x minus y? Okay, so this is also kind of inverse correlation. So will you get a unique answer for this? Okay, so in this case, it is not necessary that you got to have e power x minus y. Okay, so even if you take u equal to e power x minus 1 is that, instead of that, if I take u is equal to some f of x minus 1. Okay, then what is ux? Ux is going to be something like f dash of x minus y. Okay, into with respect to x I got derivative, so that is going to be 1. Okay, into 1 with respect to x. Then uy is going to be f dash of x minus y
Into minus.
minus 1. So I am going to get minus. So if I sum it up again, I am going to get this is f dash of x minus y, f dash of x minus y. It is going to get cancelled.
0.
0. That means what I am going to get? I am going to get 0. So it is not necessary that u equal to e power x minus y alone is the solution. Okay. Even if you take ux plus uy, the few in next 2-3 lectures later, you will find that if ux plus uy equal to 0, then you will find that u is equal to f of x minus y is a solution. Okay. Then e power x minus y is part of that. Okay. Without any f of x minus y, then it is going to satisfy this equation. That means this is also particular solution of that. Okay, so we get a general solution of f of x minus y. So that means we can see that, see, in the case of ODE, you got only one constant, Okay, if you go for the second order differential equation, you will get two constants, etc. Whereas here, for one thing itself, you got a function of things. Okay, function of things. We'll see that. Okay, so there you got constant. Here we'll get a function. We'll see that in the next few classes. So, like, you can use that method characteristic or separation of variable to find the solution. So, however, we need to have some assumptions and these boundary conditions to solve the problem. Okay. So, for example, the first one we can find it from the method characteristic. The ux plus this one. Ux plus uy equal to 0 implies u equal to f of x minus y. You can find it using the method characteristics. So, which you will see. Okay. So, this is the last 2 slides I just explained. Okay. So, you have a definition of ODE. Okay, in ODE, so whatever I got given is simple thing I got given. Now we got given for the formal definition. So definition of ODE in BATS, what I am saying is ODE is a differential equation that contains only one independent variable. Okay, so that all derivatives occurring in it are ordinary derivatives. So if it is having only one independent variable, then all these derivatives are ordinary derivatives. So you are going to get a ordinary differential equation. So if you go for the mathematical way. So let omega subset of r and m is a natural number, okay, and f is the mapping from omega cross r power m to r. It's a function, okay, it's a r power m to r. Then the ODE of order m is defined in this way, okay, f of x comma yx comma dy by dx d square by dx square etc. d power m y by dx power m. Okay, this is the mathematical way of ordinary differential equation, which you might cause in the ordinary differential equation. Similarly, you can define the system of ODE also. Okay, so for system of ODE, what you need is you need a independent variable, one independent variable, but you can have multiple dependent variables, y1, y2, y3, etc. Okay, so these are the dependent variable depending on x. Now the same way here, the previous one I have defined f is the mapping from omega cross r power m. Okay, here what I am going to define is omega cross r power p, where p corresponds to the variable y1, y2, yp. Okay, so p variables are there, so I am defining that. The next one r power p, like this it will be going. So what you will get is you will get something like f of x comma yx comma dy by dx. So here y is a system of ODE. Okay, y of x is a system of ODE. Okay, here y has many. So f of x comma y. So I have used different symbols. So you can see that here simple y. Here I used different symbol. Okay, y with some double line system. Okay, this is going to represent the system of ODE. Okay. Okay. So what is the thing? So remarks on ODE. There is one. So in this one there is only one dependent variable. Okay, here only x. So all derivatives are ordinary derivatives of the unknown function y of x. Okay. What is the order of ODE? Order of ODE is nothing but the highest derivative in the equation. That is the order. When do you say that the equation is linear? When you say ODE is linear ODE, so if all its derivatives are linear, okay, then we say that this is a linear ODE. Okay. So ODE example. So this you might have seen. So I don't know whether you have seen this kind of equation. So this is the survivability with age. So this is one equation. Almost a similar equation you might have seen in the newspapers or something for the COVID-19, which is called epidemiological model. So that they used to use system of ODE. That system of ODE is something like you see that susceptibility, infectious and recover things. So similar kind of things. Survivability with AIDS. So this is one ODE example. Second one is the population growth. Okay, so how the population is growing. So that is given that probability etc. is there. Then simple harmonic equation, which is like pendulum or some vibrations, which is given there. And Newton's law of cooling. So how much cooling effect is happening in a cup of coffee? Okay, how much time it will take to cool the cup of coffee? That is given by Newton's law of cooling. Okay. So I think it is time already. So we'll cover the rest of the topics in the next class. Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. I think it's time already. Yeah, I have taken more time, I think. Yeah. Any questions? Do you have any questions? Okay. Okay, I will upload this video lecture also in the YouTube, and I will send that lecture notes also. Okay.